We on? Perfect. Hey everybody, I'm super over the moon about tonight. This is our first night of our 5 Conversations Start Your Movement series. And the intention for the next 5 Wednesdays is to lay out for you all of the necessary components to be able to have conversations with people that are, 1, making connections, and 2, income producing. So if you will follow along with me, I would love for you to have something to write with, a piece of paper even, jot down some notes as you think of things or as you hear things within the class that you feel inspired to maybe share with someone else. So I would definitely suggest having something nearby that you can write with. I'm first going to start us out with a little video. Tell me if the screen pops up for you. Thumbs up if you can see YouTube. Yes, cool. Move this little guy out of the way. Okay, and I'm going to turn the volume all the way up. Thumbs up if you can hear.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Peterson, and I'm thrilled to share with you here some success tips related to sales. My #1 tip when it comes to selling and how to overcome the fear of selling. Most times when people have fear around sales, it's because they don't want to be salesy, pushy, and aggressive. None of us like that energy, and nor do we want to be that kind of person that shows up that way. So think, and I invite you to consider my #1 piece with sales that will help you eliminate the fear, decrease those nerves that come with selling, is to focus on how you're showing up to serve. Show up to serve always puts you in a place, an energy, and in a space where you are now not a salesperson, you are a solutions provider. So I want you to identify and to put into writing what are all the ways your product and service solves problems for other people. And see, when you know that you're a solutions provider and that people are wanting, they're looking for, they're seeking the solutions that you have, that anchors you into such a space where there's calmness. See, whenever my nerves are really high, I know I'm focused on me, right? How do I look? How do I sound? Am I going to get the sale? When I show up to say, how may I serve you? And that's my energy and my thought and my prayer, it totally shifts the experience that I have. And so for you, whether you call that God or your maker or your higher self, I invite you in prayer and in meditation to get centered with your creator and co-create that and ask that question every day. Who can I serve? Who do I need to share this with? And if you sit and listen, there will always be guidance and answers to that. And as you anchor into, I'm here to serve. Zig Ziglar once best said, if you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. Tony Robbins, another one that I love, he says this, dollars follow value. If we want more dollars, we have to bring more value to the table. So come from a place of, how can I serve? How can I bring forward greater value to the people that I want to touch? And I just solely invite you from both a mindset as well as from your business perspective, is you're showing up to add service, to provide solutions. You're simply giving gifts to people, and then it's up to them to choose whether they say yes or no to that gift. But I find that when I'm centered in service, I create amazing results in my life, both personally, professionally, financially, and I invite you to try that on for yourself. Take the next 30 days and a part of your daily routine, simply ask the question, and you can ask it more than once, who may I serve? And show up in that energy to be the kind of person that's adding value, bringing forward service. You're going to have plenty of business and opportunities because you're showing up in a space to give, and in that space you also then receive because of the value you're bringing forward. Get out there and do it. It's not as scary as you think. Sales doesn't have to be salesy, pushy, and aggressive. That isn't your choice. Your choice is service. So get clear. Ask the question, who may I serve today? Stay in that space of service, and I promise you the nerves of selling will naturally dissipate because you're coming from a place of power versus from ego. Thanks.
Okay. Move this guy back up. Thumbs up if you could hear all of that. Was that? Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to be using throughout this series what is called the Empowered Success series, the Empowered Success Guides. And it's a wonderful program that doTERRA has put together. And so I'm going to today be using one called Healthy Can Be Simple. So if you have this guide, you can get it out. Otherwise, just be looking through it this week as we focus on being able to be more effective at sampling. So I have everyone's chat here over to the left, just so if you have any questions, let me know. Yes, Tiffany Peterson is a goddess, that's for sure. I love it. Okay, so tonight we're talking about, first and foremost, conversation number one, which is being able to sample and invite. There are things that lead up to this point that I'm not going to touch on tonight. We're going to focus just on these two things. But this natural progression of how you get to this point is different for every single one of our clients. So the first thing I want to just go over with you are the two top tips I have when sampling. And write this down. I know this is going to be recorded and you can always go back and watch it if you need to remember things. But if you don't have the time to watch the whole thing, or you don't remember where I say these things, just be in your diamond energy, right? Focus on keeping your feet planted here and thinking about what it is that they need, right? Thinking about their pain points. Find their pain and solve it. So as long as you're coming from this place of service, love, and that you actually know that you have something that can help them, right? When I first started with doTERRA, I was so nervous. I remember growing up with my mom, who's a nurse, and feeling super inadequate. Anytime I had a cold or anytime anything came up, I was always going to her. And I couldn't even fake being sick because she would know, right? And so when I got into the field of natural health care, I was so lost. I felt like it was uncharted territory for me, and it was like another language. And so I dove headfirst into spending at least an hour every day on learning something about the oils. So educating myself on the product so that when I did show up and there was an opportunity for me to present, that I could be in that space of diamond energy, that I wasn't coming from a place of a consultant or a manager, weak in my words, but that I would still be strong and that I would be able to share in a way that people would receive what I was saying and be open to what I was saying, because I was confident in the words that were coming out and that I was excited about this thing that I was sharing. So with that energy, when people identify what pain or what issue they're facing, you are already in your mind able to figure out what it is that could solve their issue. Now, you're not there simply to look at their pocketbooks, right? You don't become friends with people to make a buck off of them. That's not our intention ever. That has never been my intention. The money has come because I put in more time and more effort, but also because I've been doing it a bit longer, right? That doesn't make my efforts different than yours. It just means that I've been doing it for, a longer period of time. But when you're focused on the person's health concern and you have this almost like a filing cabinet that you can pull from, then it's a lot easier to come from a place of genuine authenticity than it is if you were not really focused in your day upon educating yourself. So if you keep your eye on the prize, right? If you have the intention of sharing natural health, then you've got to know what you're talking about. And so based on your own experience, you will be able to educate. If you are using the oils every day, and that goes with supplements, right? In the morning, perhaps you're doing lemon water or you're using the oils to help you fall asleep at night. But basically, if you're using them in your day, you are the expert. They don't know anything about doTERRA. Or if they do, you have the opportunity to teach them more and just add to what they already know. So find their pain point and solve it. This is my favorite. Okay, now we're going to go through the different ways you might be able to sample someone. You might have interactions with someone. And this first one is super random. Okay, this is a person that you see on the metro. You sit next to them at a PTA meeting. You're in their Uber. You sit next to them on a plane. You know nothing about them. And these cold conversations come up. Right? If you're living in that space of diamond energy, people want to talk to you because you have something that is really unique. And I just flew home on a plane the other night, and sure enough, the gentleman next to me we talked the whole flight, and he wanted to know everything about what I do, just based upon the energy I was in and the space I was in. So come from that place and people will ask. So this is my favorite question. What do you do? Okay, what do you do? Take a second or maybe a minute and write down what you do. Do that now. What do you do when someone asks you that question? Jessica, you want me to repeat my question? You're just going to write down, when someone asks you, what do you do? What is your response? You're welcome. So just be thinking of this as I ask these questions, but how many of you avoid using words like essential oils or selling or educating or teaching? And if you do, I want you to really focus on why. So this week I want you to spend some time, and this group, by the way, there's no homework, there's no assignments, there's no Facebook group. This is merely education that I want to put out there. And so this is something there's not going to be accountability for, but if I were you and I was learning this for the first time, I would want to know why. Why am I afraid to say those things? So ask yourself that question and figure out where that's coming from and what limiting belief is holding you down from feeling confident enough to say, hey, I do the most amazing thing. I get to teach people and educate about essential oils and natural health care. It's phenomenal. It's safer, it's cheaper, it's effective, and it has changed my life. That's what I do. What do you do? Right? And then they're like, oh, that's really interesting. Tell me more about that. Do you want me to say it again? Yes? Okay, Jessica. So I get to do the most amazing thing. I educate people about essential oils and natural health care, and it is phenomenal. It's safer, it's cheaper, it's effective, and it has changed my life. And this really is something that needs to become your own, right? You have to own it, you have to love it, you have to sit in that space, and even you have to practice it. I think it's tricky to answer that question when I have a full-time job that is also my career. That's a good thing. That's awesome. So you could say, I am a college counselor at Episcopal High School, but I've actually started teaching and educating about essential oils. And I'm hoping to be able to quit my job at Episcopal so that I can further my career in teaching people about natural health care, something like that, right? If you have a full-time job, yes, my passion project. I love that, Jessica. That is awesome. This is my passion project. This is a way for me to help people, to serve, to educate, to bless. Perfect. Does anyone want to share theirs? And if so, unmute yourself.
I'll share mine real quick. I got asked this a lot in the beginning, and so I learned really quickly how to respond to it in a way that was comfortable but authentic. So if people don't already know me, then I tell them, like, I'm a nurse by trade, but currently I educate people on how to find and use natural tools, including essential oils, for their wellness, and then taking small steps to make greater change, because my family has done it and it's been incredible. And then oftentimes people will follow up with, like, oh, so you sell oils? But yeah. So
what do you say when they say that?
I'll say they kind of sell themselves. I say I educate them on the oils, and if it's something that they want to move forward with, then I show them how to get them into their home.
Exactly. I love that. I see that very same thing when people say, do you sell essential oils? I say I don't have to sell them. They sell themselves, right? Because that is...
Yeah, because they really do.
They really, really do. Yeah, I wouldn't be sitting right here on this call with you if they weren't effective and didn't work. I don't think I would have ever dreamt in a million years, or neither, or any of us, that we would be in this space had we not fallen for the product. Okay, anyone else want to share before I move on? Okay. All right. So moving on. Oh, did someone? Yes, go ahead.
I was going to share, but it's going to sound like I'm cheating because my first part sounds exactly like yours.
That's okay.
But I wrote it down before you said yours.
Oh, I believe you.
So I didn't cheat. But I'm going to add, can I add the it's safer, cheaper, and it's effective? Can I add that part?
Of course. You can take all you want. What's mine is always yours.
I added to it now. Okay, now this is my official one. I'm an educator in natural healthcare, and I teach people how to use essential oils to address most of our daily health concerns. It's safer, it's cheaper, it's effective. And this is what I always say, because people always want to know, like, if they're, I'll just say it. And it's one of the smartest things I do as a mom.
I love that.
Because everyone's always like, what? You have 7 kids? They think I have some magic secret.
You do. You do.
And so when someone asks me, because it's the truth, I say it's one of the smartest things I do as a mom. And they're like, then I want to be a smart mom.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, we're going to move on to the next group of opportunities. And this one's great. This could be really for the next segue from, what do you do? And sort of, that's really interesting. Tell me more about that. This is the next process of that conversation. So, sorry. Oh my gosh. You guys are funny. I love the chat. The chat's my favorite part. So this is really, really natural because people are going to want to ask questions. They've never heard or never met anyone that has ever said to them that they share about essential oils. It's pretty rare. Okay. And so this is now your chance when they say, well, tell me more about that, or that's really interesting. You could say, yeah, well, truly, and this is my story. So think about yourself as I'm saying this and what your pain point was. But my sweet twins were born 28 weeks gestation. And it was so traumatic for our family. We had never imagined that we would be living in a hospital for 5 months. And so as I watched their frail little bodies become victim to prescription drug after prescription drug and all the different side effects that they were receiving from those prescription drugs, I just felt deep down that there had to be another way. And I remembered that my mother-in-law had shared with me this company called doTERRA, and those oils she sampled to me years ago were really effective, but I wasn't sure. And I was really curious about what they could do. And so I got online and I was researching on my phone while the boys were in their little isolates. And I found that this company was superseding all of my expectations. I didn't want to put anything on them that I didn't trust. And with their thorough testing and purity, I knew that they were safe enough from birth to death. And so with their frail little thin skin, I started using these essential oils on them, and I would dilute them with coconut oil and massage it on the skin. And it was really incredible to watch their transformation and to see them be able to get off of these prescription drugs. We always try to think of it as like an 80-20 rule, right? So 80% of the time we can take care of things in the 4 walls of our home. And 20% of the time we've got to go to the doctor. And so that became our life. And it's really saved our quality of life. We're able to live a lot more of a fulfilling life based upon using these essential oils in our home. And now our future is really promising because my boys are able to go to school, even with their immunocompromised systems and different blood disorders. They have been protected from all sorts of viruses that have come through the school because of the essential oil usage we have in our home on a daily basis. It protects their body from the inside out. So, thinking about you and your background story, what was awful about your situation that you wanted to change, how doTERRA came through and provided that solution for you, and what your future looks like now, right? I always try to end that with, doctors said that my boys couldn't go to school and be in a public school environment because of all the airborne pathogens. And they've been in a special needs preschool for 2 years, and they've never been sent home sick. And anytime they have something come up at home, like the sniffles or stomach ache, I can take care of that right here, and they don't have to go to the doctor. Okay, so ending it with something really positive and sharing that it's given you healing and a promising look at whatever pain point that was. So for you, it might be your quality of sleep or your emotional health. Whatever it is, it's provided a change, and that's why you're sharing it. And so I want you to take just 1 minute and think of that story for yourself. So what is that one thing? Because we could share 10 things, right? But what is that one thing that you would want someone on your first encounter to know that doTERRA has provided a solution for you? Take a minute and write that down. Even if you just want a bullet point. Okay. Unmute yourself if you would like to share. I want to hear from at least one person, someone else's perspective. Shayla, I see your hand going up. Okay, go ahead. Oh, can you guys hear her? No?
Try that.
Oh, good job. Yep.
I fixed it. My second son was born normal and everything was fine. And then the nurse came to check him, and he was blue. They still don't know why, but he spent the first 2 years of life on oxygen and was super sick. Just caught everything that came by. So I tell people that I feel like we were on the MD merry-go-round, just constantly like go to the doctor, get a medication, go back home, try to see if it works, feel better for a little while, go back to the doctor, get something else. It was just constant. And knowing what I know now, I know what caused that, but it really didn't change until a neighbor walked into the neighborhood with her little wooden doTERRA box. You guys, this was 2010. She had been to the first doTERRA convention, and if I had known what I know now, anyway, I just had to have what she had in that box. I was like, you have something. And she was so hesitant to share. She was like, well, they're expensive. Yes, Lizzie, you guys, I have to tell you this, pause. My first doTERRA number was 35,000.
Wow.
800 something or other.
That's amazing.
Anyway, if only I had known, and if only I'd had Alina and an Emily in my life in 2010.
I wish I were there with you, trust me.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's amazing.
Perspective is everything. It's all good. Just get on the train when it stops. So the train came back. Thank you. Exactly, Lizzie. You got to trust timing is perfect. So that was really the beginning, though. We had been going to the doctor regularly, even though I'm really a fan of holistic healing. I felt trapped. I couldn't get out because I didn't know how to help my family on my own. And then oils were the beginning of it, and we haven't been to the doctor for sick visits in almost 8 years, with one exception. So, and I didn't have my oils then because we were in the middle of moving. So I don't know, maybe we would have avoided it.
I love it. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, so moving on, and I hope that you will feel comfortable enough to share with at least some person on your team this week. I wanted to just kind of really quickly touch base on what would happen after you give this explanation of your story with that person next to you on the plane. Is most likely they would say something like, wow, that's really amazing. And then you could come back with, well, have you heard of essential oils? Right? That's often the segue into more of a deeper conversation about what you do. And dependent upon how much time you have with that person, it would determine what you would say next. So if you're in an Uber and you're about to get out of the car, then you could say, hey, I'm having a class here locally in a couple of weeks. Can I jot down your number and email so I can invite you to my next class? 99.9% of the time they're going to say yes, because they want to at least be able to have more exposure to this topic, because you've given them just a taste of how awesome life can be with something natural. But if you're on a plane with them, this could be a really great segue into a one-on-one. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But first, let's move to, sorry, I hope I'm not boring Emily. You're probably tired because you've been up with Rose. Okay, so this is my favorite. I know there's this whole weird feeling and vibe that people get when we say, like, you need to have a text blitz. Let's do a text blitz. Everybody gets real weird about that. And I do too. I don't ever want to be on someone's group text. I don't want to ever just cold text someone out of the blue and be like, hey, I'm in a competition. I'm trying to get all these classes scheduled on the books. Would you reserve a class for me so I can win this competition? Like, if you've ever gotten that before from another multi-level marketing company, I just want to say on behalf of all of them, I'm sorry. Okay, we don't operate like that. We're coming from, once again, a place of service and love. So mass contacting with samples is they have come down the pipes. Okay, you have already been cultivating a relationship with them. You have maybe been to lunch recently, and now you have this opportunity to share with them. And it seems like a text blitz because it is going to be over text, but you're not saying it hoping that they're going to buy something right away or host a class. Okay. So mass contacting samples. I'm going to read this because I don't know that I have it all memorized, but you can write or at least bullet point some of these things down. So, hey, Lizzie, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope Ben's doing well. And I hope it's not too cold up there in Michigan. As you know, I've been studying essential oils and natural healthcare, and I'm collecting information on how these things work. I wondered if you would be open to trying some of these and then sharing your experience with me. Would you be down for that? Okay, I'm going to say it again, and now like my own terms without reading it. Hey, babe, how's it going? I loved seeing you a couple months ago when I was up in Michigan. How are you guys doing? How's life? I hope those crows aren't killing you outside and you don't have loads of bird poop on your car anymore. I don't know if you remember this, but if you've seen online, I'm really into these essential oils. I've been studying them, and I want to do a sample. I would love to sample you based on your experience, right? So what is it that you have or that you're struggling with that I can help you with? Like making sure you find that pain point. What are your health concerns right now? And if they give you like an idea of what their health concerns are, you could say, well, I wondered if you'd be open to trying some of these and then sharing your experience with me so I can build more information and collect information on how these essential oils are working, right? And if they say, sure, make sure that you really sample something that is going to help with that pain point. So this is really key. This is like numero uno when it comes to sampling, is picking something that's going to make an impact, but also being transparent about how that essential oil may or may not work. I always compare it to food, right? Every single person has different sensitivities to different foods based on our experience, our DNA, and where we come from. And so the same thing applies with essential oils. Not everyone receives the same desired result from the essential oil. And I just want to make that transparent to you so that if you don't get your result that you're looking for, that there are other essential oils, and there are hundreds of them that we could try. Okay. So being open about that, and then making sure that you either drop off the samples or send them within a day or two so that it's fresh on their mind. They know they're going to get this sample because you're doing this study. And when you say to them, like, I'd love to follow up with you in a couple of days to learn more about your experience, they know that the follow-up is going to happen, okay? Once you have followed up with them 2 days later, make sure it's within 48 hours, like, or I don't know, 48 to 36, around there, 2 to 3 days at the most. Because if it's more than 3 days, they've forgotten and they probably haven't even opened them, right? But if you're like, I'm going to contact you in 2 days to see what your experience was like and how you felt using these, then you follow up in 2 days and you can say, like, how's it going? What was your experience like? And are you open to learning more? Okay, so you're not asking them to buy it right there on the phone. You're just asking them if they're open to learning more about that sample or about essential oils. And that's great. Awesome. I'm having a class really soon. And so I'll let you know when it is, and I'll make sure to send you the invitation. Okay, so you can make it really casual like that. Or if you're not able to do classes and you'd rather do a one-on-one, you could say something like, great, let's get together soon for a play date, or let's go get coffee, or whatever it is that you want to do together and spend time together. We can go over all of your family's health concerns and which of the oils could help. And you don't have to get anything, but if you see something you like, I can help you get it. What is your schedule like next week? I have some time on Monday afternoon or Thursday morning. Okay, so let's break that down because that was really meaty and there's important components that we need to identify. So if you're doing the one-on-one, let's get together soon, right? So they know that it's going to happen within a short amount of time. We can go over your family's health concerns and narrow down what it is that's going to provide a solution for those. So they know that it's going to be focused on what their needs are, and you're not just going to ramble on about why you love oils, but targeting it to them individually. And then you can say to them, you don't have to get anything, but if you see something that you like, then I can help you or I can teach you how you can get them. Okay? So that definitely breaks down the barrier of that intimidation factor, like, oh, she wants to go to lunch with me so I can buy all this stuff. But if you eliminate that pressure right away, then they know it's an education opportunity. I can't tell you how many times I have done a consultation with someone one-on-one or over the phone, and they haven't bought oils for sometimes a year later. Actually, today I had an enrollment from a gal where I did her wellness consult, or like not a wellness, but a consultation one-on-one over the phone almost a year ago. So I wasn't like, I followed up with her. She's been getting my emails, but I haven't seen her. She lives out of state. So people remember when they need the oils, they're going to remember the conversation they had with you. So if you go into it with the expectation like, hey, you don't have to buy anything, but if you decide you want something, then I can teach you how to get them. Okay. And then the last component of that that's really important is making sure that you pinpoint a date. So what's your schedule like next week? I have some time on Monday afternoon or Thursday evening. So 2 options, always 2. Don't give them 3 because then they get confused, and don't give them 1 because that's limiting their time. Oh, I don't have time on Monday. Okay, well, I have an opening on Thursday. Then you sound desperate, right? If you say to them, let's get together next week, I can do Monday, and they say no, then you're like, oh, but I can do Thursday. It just sounds like you're grasping at straws. But if you give 2 examples right up front and say Monday afternoon or Thursday evening, and if she says, I can't do any of those, say, great. Then let's set up a phone conversation when you do have time. What's your schedule like next week, right? So if they can't be in person, you can always do it over the phone. Also, I highly suggest getting the Calendly app. It's been really great for eliminating that pressure, because I say to every single person that's like, okay, well, I'd like to do that, I just send them the link to my calendar, and there's available time slots that they can reserve 15-minute, 30-minute, or 60-minute mentor conversations with me. And then that eliminates you having to follow up every time, because they themselves have ownership of that time. They've picked that time, and it's already set on the calendar. Now, we'll get to what to do about the reminder in just a second. But mass contacting with samples. Everybody feel good about that? Yes? No? It will take practice. Okay, what to do when someone in your life voices their pain point. So this isn't an Uber driver. This isn't someone at the PTA meeting. This is someone you actually know that is in your life. You see them on a regular basis. It could be your kids' teachers. It could be somebody at your church congregation. It could be somebody at your work. They voice things in front of you, and they're the person that just like opens up. They have the headache all the time. They're tired. They come in exhausted to work. Somebody that's pointed out like, oh, my kids are sick all the time, or my kid has chickenpox, or whatever it is. Like there's always someone in your life that's going to voice a concern, a health concern, a mental health concern, whatever it is. Our first step is to empathize, right? We love them. So we're going to be like, that freaking sucks. Crap, right? You're just going to relate, and you're going to ask questions. The questions that you want to ask this person are to get more pain points out. Okay. So tell me more about this XYZ. Let's think of something. Digestive health. Okay. They're like, oh, I feel so bad. My stomach hurts all the time. I actually had someone come over and say that today. My stomach hurts all the time. And so I was like, oh my gosh, tell me more about that. We sat on the couch and I asked her to explain like how she feels during that, all of that. And she was like, well, I have a cramp in this spot, and this is what it feels like when I go potty or whatever, like all the different things she was telling me. And I listened and I listened and I listened. And she had said to me, like, do you have any solution for that? And I was like, well, if I were you, I would try the Terrazyme before every single meal for 7 days. And if it resolves the digestive issues, then you know that it was simply something from your GI tract. But if it doesn't, because she was thinking it was more like uterine health, if it doesn't resolve your problems, then you know it's something related more to your hormones. And we can look at the phytoestrogens. So, and she's aware of what doTERRA is and uses the product. So she was really open to that. But if it was someone who wasn't open to that or didn't know about the product, then you could share with them just one simple solution, right? So if they have stomach issues, you could talk about DigestZen. Or if they have, if they're exhausted, they come in and they're just tired all the time, then you could explain to them something that's helping, but make sure you ask those questions. Tell me more about that. And once you get to the point where they have explained everything, your next question needs to be, are you open to natural healthcare? Okay. That has to be like, you can't just jump in there and start rubbing oils on them. That's not okay. We want to make sure we're super intentional about the next phase of the conversation. Are you open to natural healthcare? I feel like their answer is always going to be yes, especially if they're hanging out with you, because most of the time they already know you're into that. Okay. So then they say yes. You say, great. Have you heard of essential oils? Have you heard of essential oils? Because you're going to know where to go in the conversation if they're totally aware of what essential oils are. Maybe they're using a different brand. Maybe they've bought them from Whole Foods or the dollar store. Okay. Now that's going to be your job. It's now your responsibility to be able to guide them and lead the conversation based on the efficacy and purity of doTERRA's essential oils, right? So from there on, you know what you have to resolve. But then I love after you find out what their answer is to, have you heard of essential oils? This would be a really great time to share your story. So the same kind of story that you shared on the plane is what you would plug in here. This is your success story that is quick, it's easy, it gets to the point, and it shows them that it provided a solution for you. Okay, so now you're going to get to identifying what would be good for them. So you would say, would you be open to trying some DigestZen for your tummy upset? And then you're going to arrange a time to get them the sample. So if it's in person and you already have it in your bag, great. Just so you know, I do carry these guys around. This little tin, I think it was like $1, I don't know. And I carry these little sample vials. I even have touch rollers. And I keep peppermint and lavender, deep blue in there. Just some like good ones that I know pack a big punch. But if you don't have DigestZen on hand, which I suggest you always have at least for yourself some DigestZen, but if you don't have like DigestZen on hand, then you can arrange a time to get together or to actually send them the sample. Once you drop off the sample, it's really crucial at that point to explain how to use it. Okay, so you're not going to explain how to use it before you give it to them. They have to get the oil in their hand. And then at that point, this is your opportunity to be like, okay, so this is how you actually use this DigestZen. And this is how it's going to be most effective. Once again, still being transparent with the fact that essential oils do work differently on everybody, but I don't know a single human that DigestZen doesn't work on. So just saying. Great. I'll text you in a couple days to see what your experience was like. and let me know if you have any questions. Text them 2 days later. How was the DigestZen? Tell me about your experience, and just let them talk and talk and talk. Okay. I'm getting little messages. Can you hear it? Sorry if that's annoying for you guys. Yes, so just making sure that they're really, really aware that you have other oils in your arsenal that can help. So if you can get more out of them, asking more questions, then they'll see that there's a need for some other oils as well. So that same question comes back. Are you open to learning more? Okay, so the initial one was, are you open to natural healthcare? And now you've sampled them. They liked the sample. Are you open to learning more? Okay. Now this is the fun part. Great. We're having a class next Tuesday, and the topic is actually going to be on digestive health. Okay. Even if it's just an essential oil 101, when that person shows up, you're going to really emphasize digestive health in the class because you know that that person is there to learn more about that. Okay. So we're having a class next Tuesday, and we're covering digestive health in the class. It's going to be one of the focuses of the class. And I feel like this could really be a great opportunity for you to learn more. What is your Tuesday like? Are you free on Tuesday? Or once again, you could set up a one-on-one. Okay, we're almost done here. So you've sampled someone and perhaps you haven't been, they haven't responded yet. Okay, maybe they're kind of dodging you a little bit. And you are coming from a place of love, and you're coming from a place of you're offering this gift, but it's not being received. I want you to know that that's okay. That this is a season in your business where it has massive action. This is action, action, action season of your business. You're going to be sampling like crazy. You're going to be teaching like crazy. You're going to be having one-on-ones like crazy. You're going to be having wellness consults like crazy because you're climbing a mountain, right? You are in the beginnings of building this empire. And until you have a team that is sustainable, you're still going to have to do this on a daily basis. I do this on a daily basis. I don't know if Jenna does, but still, like you still have to do this. You still have to sample, you still have to teach, and you still have to enroll. But in the beginning, that is like the season of action. So I want you to focus on letting go of those people that are not open to receive. Because at some point in their life, they will be ready. And when they are, they're going to remember the conversation they had with you. So I have folks on my team who have sampled, they've taught classes, people have come, and then those people end up enrolling with someone else. I want you to think about that for a second. How would you feel, and maybe it's even happened to you, that you spend time educating someone, this is their first exposure to essential oils, and they go enroll with someone else? How does it make you feel, and why did it happen? Why does that happen? Think about that. What are we not doing or not saying that would make them think that it's totally okay to enroll with their friend? Emily can totally speak to this because she herself has enrolled before with someone else, knew nothing about the business, knew nothing, probably didn't even know this was a network marketing company, and tried to find a way to educate herself, but that just didn't happen. And she, I think, enrolled again. Was it 2 times before me? Yeah. Yes, 2 times before me. It's amazing. Oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to unmute Emily.
Guys, I thought it was like Mary Kay that you just like bought through someone or something. So I had no idea.
I love it. Okay, now Emily and I are going to model a conversation, and she knows ahead of time, so don't think that I just like threw this on her. Although I've been known to do that, and I've been trying to be better about that, Emily.
No, you're all right.
Okay, so
throwing on me, girl.
So we are friends in real life. This is Emily Olson minus doTERRA. So everything about her is exactly the same minus doTERRA. Okay.
Scary, you guys.
Scary. Scary thought. Okay, so she and I are friends from church, and we're sitting at a church function on a Wednesday night. Like, the ladies get together, they're sewing some stuff in the corner, and her and I are over by the snack table, and we're sitting down and we're eating our dairy-free cookies. Okay.
Sounds good.
Because I couldn't indulge with you unless it didn't have dairy. So I must have brought them. That's what it was. I brought the cookies. Okay, so Emily and I are sitting down chatting, and she voices to me some of her concerns. So Emily, what are some things in your life that you are bringing up?
So we're just chatting, just hanging out, and Lena's like, how are things going? And I'm like, Lena, the twins, the 3-year-olds are sick all the time. All the time. Like, as soon as one gets better, then the other one is sick. Then I feel like maybe we have a good week, tops. And then it starts over. Like, Beck always has some sort of upper respiratory something. I don't know how many times we have had him on an antibiotic. And he keeps getting this nasty thing. And he's up all night. And then I'm up all night. And it's tough. It's tough.
Tell me more about that for him. What is it like in those moments when he's sick?
It's hard because he's really frustrated and he wants mom to do something about it. But I just gave him the prescription, and it's not like I can give him more. He's little. He's only 3. So a lot of the things at Walgreens he's not big enough for it anyways. So he's frustrated. I'm frustrated. And I'm not getting sleep. He's not getting sleep. He's not getting better. It's the worst.
That must be so hard. Oh my gosh.
So hard.
Sorry. And for you emotionally, that's not easy.
Yeah, because I feel like a crap mom because he wants me to fix it and I have nothing to give him. I just do the prescription like the doctor said, doesn't solve it, and then he's waiting for me to fix it, and there's nothing.
Jeez.
Guys, this is real life, except it's like my first set of twins instead of my younger set of twins.
I love it. But we're talking about Nora and Beck right now.
Yeah. In this scenario.
In this scenario, it's Beck.
Mm-hmm.
So in this whole episode, when he's having upper respiratory, what is Nora doing? Is she just sleeping, or does she sleep through it?
She does sleep through it. It's like twin magic. They have been with each other every day and night of their life. So she sleeps through it until she gets sick. And then you've seen her when she's frustrated, Lena.
Mm.
She's tough. She makes you pay.
She's the queen of that castle.
She is. That girl is tough. Lizzie has also seen it. It's awful. She's tough. We need to make her life simpler, because if Nora ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
That's right. Are you open to other options? I mean, have you thought about things
like what other options?
Like you're
like
on
the doctor just gives us this stuff, and
yeah. Well, I don't know if you're aware, but I do the most amazing thing. Have you heard of essential oils?
Well, yeah. I mean, like the Johnson & Johnson soap will say it has like lavender essential oil in it or something.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. So in the last couple of years, I've been actively educating and teaching people about them, mainly because they're safer than prescription drugs. They're cheaper, definitely don't have to take time off work, and they're really effective at being able to resolve those issues we can do at home.
Okay.
And they've totally changed my life. So if you're open to natural health care, then I would love to offer you something that has helped really well for my son, Luca. So he's such a sweet pea, and he, as you know, was a preemie and had total respiratory issues. He was also on oxygen for a while. So Shayla, when she said that, made me cry. Because that's not hard to travel around the house or go anywhere when you're on oxygen, and carrying the tank and the tubes and all of that. And since then, Emily, it's been hard because he is a lot more sensitive to respiratory infections. Like
Yeah.
I feel like he'll catch everything. And so in order for us to like not be at the doctor all the time, because I don't want to sit in that waiting room where there's, all the airborne pathogens and viruses hanging out.
You're like schlepping all the kids
Yes.
all the time.
It's so hard. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So for Luca, we actually use eucalyptus, peppermint, cardamom, and caraway. Is that what's in there? It's a blend called Breathe, the respiratory blend. And I apply it to his chest with some coconut oil. By the way, I always take out the word fractionated just because it's real confusing for people. So when I'm like talking just to any old Mary, Mo, and Jack, I say coconut oil, okay? So I take that coconut oil, I rub it on his chest, especially before bed, because when they lay down flat, then their retractions are even like more intense. You can hear it on the monitor. And so it's something that has worked really, really well for Luca. Would you be open to trying some Breathe for Beck?
Yeah.
That's something you might want to do?
Yeah, so I just like rub it on his chest?
Yeah, you can do it on the chest. Another place I love to put oils is on the bottoms of their feet, mainly because it's like a sponge. They just take in the oils and it gets to all the cells in the body and can really support the body from the inside out. So you can do bottoms of the feet or on the chest.
Okay, yeah, so the bottoms of the feet, it helps him breathe better because it supports him in cellularly.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Super, super simple.
That's amazing.
I have some at my house that I can bring you later, or I can just bring it to church on Sunday.
I would love that.
Great. And then I'll check in with you in a couple of days to see how it worked for him.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sweet. Okay, now fast forward, okay? I sampled you. Okay? All right. So I sampled you. Now what? Emily, girl.
Hey, girl.
How is Beck doing? Tell me how it went.
He's so good. Lena, for real, I think my favorite moment was so before we put his jammies on, I got the little thing out and I put the oil in my hand, right? And then a drop or two of the Breathe in with the oil and I rubbed it on his chest. And I think he loved that, he's sitting with mom, we're in the rocking chair in his room, and I'm loving on him. And I'm explaining to him that this is going to help him to breathe better and not do coughing all night. And I think he really felt that mom was taking care of him, that I was doing something for him that was going to help him feel better. And he didn't get up. I didn't get up with him the whole night. He wasn't
Are you serious?
Yeah, he wasn't barking, coughing all through the night. He wasn't sad crying because he's trying to sleep, but he keeps coughing and coughing. It was and Beck when he's cranky is so sad, but Beck when he's happy is the cutest.
Aww.
It was awesome.
I'm so happy to hear that. You have no idea how happy that makes me, especially because that was extra time with mom and all that, that touch, that TLC. He probably just loved it.
He totally loved it. I think he's he's wanting it to be our new nightly routine. Mom and Beck, rubbing him down.
Gosh, I love that. Well, Emily, are you open to learning more about essential oils?
Yeah, there's more stuff they can do.
There's more. I mean, get ready. Brace yourself. There's more. And I'm actually having a class coming up this Thursday. I would love to invite you to it. It's going to be focused really heavily on the respiratory system, and we're going to talk more about natural ways that you can help Beck with that.
Okay.
Are you free on Tuesday?
Totally.
Sweet. Okay.
I'll bring Rose.
And end scene.
And scene.
Okay, now it's been a few days. It's Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, and I reach out to Emily via text. Okay, and this is what it sounds like. This is what it looks like. Hey, Emily, I am so excited that you are coming to the class on Thursday. I've prepared some awesome information, and I know that it's going to help you learn better ways to take care of Beck and Nora. So just so you're aware, there are going to be some giveaways at the class, and I have a special giveaway that I want to give to you that's more focused on respiratory support. And I want, if you bring bring anyone to come with you, a friend or someone else from church, then I will make sure that I make something special for them too. So, smiley face, heart emoji. The end.
Blow a kiss emoji.
Blow a kiss emoji. Basically, the follow-up is really just focusing on them, focusing on their pain points and what's going to benefit them the most, rather than just saying, I'm here to remind you, right? I don't like that word remind, because I feel like that immediately would make me kind of like internalize. And I don't like when people say like, I'm texting you to remind you that on Saturday you're going, it's like some obligation, where this is an opportunity for them to be educated and they're going to be excited. So I'm so excited to see you, or you can say like, I'm really excited you're coming to the class. Or if you're nervous about whether or not they're going to show up and you're worried that they're not taking it seriously, then you could give them some kind of responsibility. Something like, could you pick up Sally down the street on your way to the class because her husband's going to have her car or something.
Lena, you could be like, could you make a spread of food? Or 20 people. I'd be like, yes.
Would you mind bringing, plates or something? I love it. That's awesome. So we finished up. We went a little bit over, but we did start late. So I'm going to give myself that and just say, sampling doesn't have to feel uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be icky. It doesn't have to feel salesy. It's just being yourself and focusing on them and their pain points, making sure to ask lots of questions and then listening to their response so that you can find a solution that's going to work best for them. So I'm super excited for next week, you guys. We're going to be talking about the Natural Solutions Guide, which is how we teach the next step. So once people are sampled, they've committed to come to a class, now what? So I'm going to stop recording. Thanks so much for coming. You're the best.